Today, two GPUs are going to be investigated to find out how GPU fan speeds affect their performance and how the technology, temperatures, and performance has changed over one generation. The GPUs that are being tested are two NVIDIA cards, which are both in the GTX X70 series, which means at release they're both at the same price point and expected performance point of the time. These cards are the GTX 770 and the GTX 970. NVIDIA has developed and released a technology called GPU Boost 2.0. This was first released with the GTX 700 series, which is what the 770 falls under. GPU Boost 2.0 takes advantage of cooler temperatures to boost clock speed, which then increases the performance of the GPU. The safe temperature in computing terms is around 80 to 90 degrees Celsius. Any more than this is considered dangerous. Even at the lowest fan speed, 40%, the GPU and GPU Boost 2.0 will thermal throttle the GPU so it has less performance but stays in safe range of temperatures. Thermal throttling is a process of decreasing the GPU's performance until a safe temperature can be reached. Once this safe temperature has been reached, the performance will level out and it will continue running at this temperature. However, this rarely happens as modern cards have technology that increases the fan speed to deal with the increase in temperatures. Thermal throttling with an automatic fan curve only occurs when the fans are at 100% and the temperatures are still rising to dangerous levels. Cooling technology and fan technology have improved over time, as the GTX 970 has much greater performance and much better cooling in the same size card. This difference in performance is mainly related to heat, as with a cooler core, you can push the clock speed further. This is why it's so vital to see how the GPU cooling can be improved, as well as the differences that have been made in just a few years. There are three things involved in cooling the GPU. These are the heatsink, the fans, and the thermal compound. The heatsink is usually made of metal, usually copper or aluminum, and it carries the heat away from the core and to the fans, where the heat can be removed. The heatsink sits on top of the GPU, making contact to the core through thermal compound, which ensures good contact and heat transfer. The final part of the equation is the fans. These drag the heat away from the heatsink and expel it. The settings for the testing were these. Only the graphics tests were used and it was the default Firestrike settings. The test bench was made up of an Intel i5-4690, a Corsair Ventured 16GB 1600 MHz RAM kit, a stock Intel CPU heatsink, a Corsair HX750 power supply unit, Windows 10 64-bit as the OS, and an Asus Z97M Plus motherboard. In the results, it can be seen that there was little to no difference in performance due to fan speeds. This was not expected, as GPU Boost was expected to boost the cards as far as the manufacturer allows. However, there are a few reasons why this would happen. The first of these is that the room was air conditioned at a temperature of 21 degrees C, so any heat output from the GPUs were cooled by the surrounding air. Another reason is that these cards were not overclocked, allowing for safe, full performance in a fairly cool room, even with low fan speeds, as can be seen in the 40% fan tests, with only a small lowering in performance as temperatures reached 72 degrees for the 970 and 78 for the 770. These, however, were both under the safe temperature limit for their chips, explaining the only slight change in performance. Another notable point in the data is the differing temperatures between the cards, even at the same fan percentages. This is due to the new technology, such as better fans, heatsinks, and power management on the newer card. This allows manufacturers to be able to boost their clock speeds higher, resulting in better scores in FPS, in games, and benchmarks. There are very few ways that this testing can be improved, as the cards will both run on the same test room with the same ambient temperature. However, if the room was at a warmer temperature, there would be a more noticeable difference in performances due to fan speed. To conclude, very little evidence of fan speed affecting performance was found. However, it can be shown to exist, as at the 40% fan speed test, both GPUs ran hotter and at a lower performance than in any other test. If the testing was done in a hotter room, there would be a larger difference in temperatures and performance. This test was a success and illustrates how some correlation between performance and temperatures exists, as well as showing how far technology has come.